Good night. We are still on the 13th of January 2022. I'm waiting for a video to upload infiltration on Pope John Paul II, his pontification, so I can't go to bed yet until it's finished uploading. So I'm going to record day 75, Bible in 1 year. I'll be reading Numbers 10, Numbers 11, 12, 16, Psalm 75, the Gospel according to Mark 8, verses 1 to 26. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Holy Michael, Archangel, defend me in this day of battle. Be my safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, I humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust down to hell Satan and all the wicked evil spirits who wander through the world for the ruin of souls. Amen. A reading from Numbers 10, the Trumpets. Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, Make yourself 2 trumpets, make them of beaten silver, so that you can use them for summoning the community excuse me, and for sounding the order to break camp. Whenever they are sounded, the whole community must gather round you at the tent of meeting. But if only one trumpet is sounded, then only the leaders, the heads of Israel, thousands, must gather round you. When the trumpet blast is accompanied by a battle cry, the encampments pitched to the east will set out. At the second blast, accompanied by a battle cry, the encampments pitched to the south will set out. For breaking camp, the trumpet blast will be accompanied by a battle cry. But for assembling the community, the trumpets will be sounded without battle cry. The Aaronite priests, this is a perpetual decree for you and your descendants. When in your country you go to war against an enemy who is oppressing you, you will sound the trumpets with a battle cry, and Yahweh your God will remember you, and you will be delivered from your enemies. At your festivals, solemnities, and new moon feasts, you will sound the trumpets over your burnt offerings and communion sacrifices, so that they recall you to the remembrance of your God. I am Yahweh your God. The word of the Lord. A reading of the order of march. In the 2nd year, in the 2nd month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud rose from where the dwelling of the testimony was, and the Israelites set out in marching order from the desert of Sinai. The cloud came to rest in the desert of Paran. These were the men who set out in the vanguard at Yahweh's order through Moses. First went the standard of the camp of the Judahites and their units, with Nashon, son of Amminadab, commanding that contingent. Nethanel, son of Zuar, commanding the tribal contingent of the Issacharites, and Eliab, son of Helon, commanding the tribal contingent of the Zebulunites. The dwelling was then dismantled, and the Gershonites and the Merarites set out carrying the dwelling. Then came the standard of the camp of Reubenites and their units, with Elizur, son of Shedeur, commanding that contingent. Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, commanding the tribal contingent of the Simeonites, and Elisaphas, son of Reuel, commanding the tribal contingent of the Gadites. Then came the Kohathites, carrying the sanctuary. The dwelling was erected before they arrived. Then came the standard of the camp of the Ephraimites and their units, with Elishama, son of Ammihud, commanding that contingent. Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, commanding the tribal contingent of the Manashites, and Abidan, son of Gideoni, commanding the tribal contingent of the Benjaminites. Last of all, the rear guard of all the camps, came the standard of the camp of the Danites and their units, with Aziezer, son of Ammishaddai, commanding the tribal contingent. Pagiel, son of Ochran, commanding the tribal contingent of the Asherites, and Ahira, son of Enan, commanding the tribal contingent of the Naphtalites. Such was the order of march for the Israelites, unit by unit. So they set out. Moses' proposal to Hobab. Moses said to Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, his father-in-law, "We are setting out for the country of which Yahweh has said, 'I shall give it to you. Come with us, and we will treat you well. For Yahweh has promised good things for Israel.' 'I will not come with you,' he replied, 'but shall go to my own country and kin.' 'Do not leave us,' Moses said, 'for you know where we can camp in the desert, and you will be our eyes. If you come with us, we shall share with you whatever blessings Yahweh gives us.'" The departure. They set out from Yahweh's mountain and travelled for 3 days, while the ark of the covenant of Yahweh preceded them on the 3-day journey, searching out a place for them to halt. In the daytime, Yahweh's cloud was over them, once they had broken camp. Whenever the ark set out, Moses would say, "Rise, Yahweh, may your enemies be scattered, and those who hate you flee at your approach." And when it halted, he would say, "Come back, Yahweh, to the countless thousands of Israel." The word of the Lord. Numbers 11. The HALTS in the desert. TABERAH. Now the people began to complain, which was offensive to Yahweh's ears. When Yahweh heard, his anger was aroused, and the fire of Yahweh broke out among them. It devoured one end of the camp. The people appealed to Moses, who interceded with Yahweh, and the fire died down. So the place was called TABERAH, because of the fire of Yahweh had broken out among them. KIBROTH-HA-TAAVAH. The people complained. The rabble who had joined the people were feeling the pangs of hunger, and the Israelites began to weep again. "Who will give us meat to eat?" they said. Think of the fish we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions and garlic. But now we're withering away. There's nothing wherever we look except this manna. The manna was like coriander seed and had the appearance of bdellium. The people went round gathering it and ground it in a mill or crushed it with a pestle. It was then cooked in a pot and made into pancakes. It tasted like cake made with oil. When the dew fell on the camp at night time, the manna fell with it. The prayer of Moses. Moses heard the people weeping, each family at the door of its tent. Yahweh's anger was greatly aroused. Moses too found it disgraceful, and he said to Yahweh, "Why do you treat your servant so badly? In what respect have I failed to win your favour? For you lay the burden of all these people on me. Was it I who conceived all these people? Was I their father? For you say to me, carry them in our arms like a foster father, carrying an unweaned child to the country which I swore to give their fathers. Where am I to find meat to give all these people, pestering me with their tears, saying, 'Give us meat to eat'? I cannot carry all these people on my own. The weight is too much for me. If this is how you mean to treat me, please kill me outright. If only I could win your favour and be spared the sight of my misery." Yahweh replies. Yahweh said to Moses, "Collect me 70 of the elders of Israel, men you know to be the people's elders and scribes. Bring them to the tent of meeting, and let them stand beside you there. I shall come down and talk to you there, and shall take some of the Spirit which is on you, and put it on them. They will bear the burden of the people with you, and you will no longer have to bear it on your own. And say to the people, purify yourselves for tomorrow, and you will have meat to eat, since you wept in Yahweh's hearing, saying, 'Who will give us meat to eat? How happy we were in Egypt!' Very well, Yahweh will give you meat to eat. You will eat it, not for 1 day, or 2, or 5, or 10, or 20, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and sickens you, since you've rejected Yahweh who is among you, and have wept before him, saying, 'Why did we ever leave Egypt?' Moses said, 'The people round me number 600,000 foot soldiers, and you say, I shall give them meat to eat for a whole month? If all the flocks and herds were slaughtered, would that be enough for them?' Yahweh said to Moses, 'Is the arm of Yahweh so short? You shall see the promise I have made to you comes true or not.' The Spirit given to the elders. Moses went out and told the people what Yahweh had said. Then he collected 70 of the people's elders and stationed them round the tent. Yahweh descended in the cloud. He spoke to him and took some of the Spirit that was on him and put it on the 70 elders. When the Spirit came on them, they prophesied, but only once. 2 men had stayed back in the camp. One was called Eldad and the other Medad. The Spirit came down on them, though they had not gone to the tent. Their names were enrolled among the rest. These began to prophesy in the camp. The young man ran to tell Moses this. 'Look,' he said, 'Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp.' Joshua, son of Nun, who had served Moses since he was a boy, spoke up and said, 'My Lord Moses, stop them.' Moses replied, 'Are you jealous on my account? If only all Yahweh's people were prophets, and Yahweh had given them his spirit. Moses then went back to the camp with the elders of Israel. The quails. The wind sent by Yahweh started blowing from the sea, bringing quails which it deposited on the camp. They lay for a distance of a day's march either side of the camp, 2 cubits thick on the ground. The people were up all that day and night and all the next day collecting quails. The least gathered by anyone was 10 homer. Then they spread them out round the camp. The meat was still between their teeth, not even chewed, when Yahweh's anger was aroused by the people. Yahweh struck them with a great plague. The name given to this place was KIBROTH-HA-TAAVAH, because it was there that they buried the people who had indulged their greed. People set out for Hazeroth, and at Hazeroth they pitched camp. The word of the Lord. Numbers 12, a reading from Numbers. Miriam and Aaron criticize Moses. Miriam and Aaron too criticized Moses over the Cushite woman he had married. He had indeed married a Cushite woman. They said, "Is Moses the only one through whom Yahweh has spoken? Has he not spoken through us too?" Yahweh heard this. Now Moses was extremely humble, the humblest man on earth. God's answer. Suddenly Yahweh said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, "Come out, all 3 of you, to the tent of meeting." They went, all 3 of them, and Yahweh descended in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent. He called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forward. Yahweh said, "Listen to my words. There is a prophet among you. I reveal myself to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. To him my whole household is entrusted. To him I speak face to face, plainly and not in riddles, and he sees Yahweh's form. How then could you dare to criticize my servant Moses?" Yahweh's anger was aroused by them. He went away, and as soon as the cloud left the tent, there was Miriam, covered with a virulent skin disease, white as snow. Aaron turned to look at her, and saw that she had contracted a virulent skin disease. Aaron said to Moses, "Oh my Lord, please do not punish us for the sin we've been foolish enough to commit. Do not let her be like some monster with its flesh half eaten away when it leaves its mother's womb." Moses pleaded with Yahweh. "Oh God," he said, "I beg you, please, heal her." Yahweh then said to Moses, "If her father had done no more than spit in her face, would she not be unclean for 7 days? Have her shut out of the camp for 7 days, and then have her brought in again." Miriam was shut out of the camp for 7 days. The people did not set out until she returned. Then the people moved on from Hazeroth and pitched camp in the desert of Paran. Psalm 75. The Universal Judge. We give thanks to you, God. We give thanks to you as we call upon your name, as we recount your wonders. At the appointed time, I myself shall dispense justice. The earth quakes, and all its inhabitants. It is I who hold its pillars firm. I said to the boastful, do not boast to the wicked. Do not flaunt your strength. Do not flaunt your strength so proudly. Do not talk with that arrogant stance. No longer from east to west, no longer in the mountainous desert is God judging in uprightness, bringing some down, raising others. Yahweh is holding a cup filled with a heady blend of wine. He will pour it. They will drink it to the dregs. All the wicked on earth will drink it. But I shall speak out forever, shall make music for the God of Jacob. I shall break down all the strength of the upright will rise high. The word of the Lord. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Gospel according to Mark 8, the second miracle of the loaves. Glory to you, O Lord. And now, once again, a great crowd had gathered, and they had nothing to eat. So he called his disciples to him, and said to them, I feel sorry for all these people. They have been with me for 3 days now, and have nothing to eat. If I send them off home hungry, they will collapse on the way. Some have come a great distance. His disciples replied, where could anyone get these people enough bread to eat in a deserted place? He asked them, how many loaves have you? And they said to him, 7. Then he instructed the crowd to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves, and after giving thanks, he broke them and began handing them to his disciples to distribute, and they distributed them among the crowd. They had a few small fishes as well, and over these he said a blessing and ordered them to be distributed too. They ate as much as they wanted, and they collected 7 basketfuls of the scraps left over. Now there had been about 4,000 people. He sent them away, and at once getting into the boat with his disciples, went to the region of Dalmanutha. The Pharisees asked for a sign from heaven. The Pharisees came up and started a discussion with him. They demanded of him a sign from heaven to put him to the test, and with a profound sigh he said, why does this generation demand a sign? In truth I tell you, no sign shall be given to this generation. And leaving them again, he re-embarked and went away to the other side. The yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod. The disciples had forgotten to take any bread, and they had only 1 loaf with them in the boat. Then he gave them this warning, keep your eyes open, look out for the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod. And they said to one another, it is because we have no bread. And Jesus knew it, and he said to them, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not understand? Still not realize? Are your minds closed? Have you eyes and do not see? Ears and do not hear? do you not remember? When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of scraps did you collect? They answered, 12. And when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many baskets of scraps did you collect? And they answered, 7. Then he said to them, do you still not realize? Cure of a blind man at Bethsaida. They came to Bethsaida, and some people brought to him a blind man, whom they begged him to touch. He took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. Then put his spittle on his eyes, and laying his hands on him, he asked, can you see anything? The man who was beginning to see replied, I can see people. They look like trees as they walk around. Then he laid his hands on the man's eyes again, and he saw clearly. He was cured, and he could see everything plainly and distinctly. And Jesus sent him home, saying, do not even go into the village. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for listening. May God bless you and heal you. I'm sending you his peace in abundance. And God bless you until next time. Next time I'll be doing, I'll tell you the titles quickly before I say goodnight. It will be 1 Year, Day 76, Numbers 13, 14, Psalm 76, Gospel according to Mark 8, verses 27 to 38. Thank you. Good night. God bless.